and consumption families. Let me just start the recording here. Perfect. Royal University is on the traditional land of the Lekwungen and Consumption families, also known as the Songhe and the Esquimalt nations. This statement means at Royal Road that we recognize the importance of Indigenous and non-Indigenous people relationship as we continue learning and understand the history, the present, and the future scopes of Indigenous people. So please feel free to acknowledge the land that you are on. I also invite you to really be present with us today. We'll be together for 45 to 60 minutes. So just enjoy, maybe close the other application and be fully with us. As I mentioned, I'll be assisted with Leslie King today to describe all those beautiful programs, the GC in Science and Policy of Climate Change, as well as the Master in Environmental Practice. Maybe Leslie, if you have a minute, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'll do that. Thank you, Nancy. And I see we have at least one person from the MEP on the line. As you know, the Master in Environmental Practice students can take the climate certificate and get both credentials. So it's great to have people from MEP on the line. I see someone from Burnaby. Oh, Fredericton, New Brunswick. That's wonderful. Interested in, good. I was just talking about the climate change certificate, saying it's the most efficient way to get to become a climate professional. So anyway, I'm Leslie King. I'm the program head of these two programs that we're going to talk about today. And my research interests have been in climate for many, many years. And I've worked in Africa and the Arctic. That's enough for me. Thanks.
Wow, thank you, Leslie. So the agenda for today, we'll do an overview of Royal Roads, the student experience and the campus. We'll talk about the program. We'll talk about the partnership we have with EcoCanada, and we'll talk at the end how to apply. So you're always welcome to ask questions as we go. I'm pretty sure we have some people from the enrollment team here that can help you answering questions in the chat or connecting later with you. So please feel free to connect.
Nancy, can I interrupt for a second? Sure. Sometimes our online audiences don't know why we have all these peacocks. That's a beautiful photograph of a peacock. And we actually have these guys wandering around the campus. They make a terrible racket in the spring, especially when you're trying to teach, but they are beautiful and friendly, sometimes a little too friendly.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, we have peacocks everywhere, you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a feature at Royal Road. So when you come on campus, I'm sure you'll see them. Perfect. So when looking at those pictures here, we can see the icon of campus, I would say, Hatley Castle on the top left. So Hatley Castle is very famous. We had many movies filmed here. We have events, and sometimes, if you're lucky, you can have classrooms in the castle as well. On the top right, you can see the Old Growth Trails network. So we have a bunch of trails everywhere on campus that you can enjoy for walking, running, being with your friends, your cohort. We have a Japanese garden, rose garden, Italian garden. So I hope that some of you have visited the campus before, and if you didn't, please come. It's always open to walk on the land. At the top, bottom left, I should say, the Esquimalt Lagoon. So Royal Road University is on 565 acres, and we are facing the ocean, which is amazing. And the Esquimalt Lagoon is as well a bird sanctuary. So there's so many species we can just observe from there. At the bottom right, yes.
These programs are entirely online, so they may never get to see these, but I always hope that people can at least come for graduation.
That's a very good point. If we can have convocation on site one day, people will be able to join. Huh?
That's a good point. We will this year. We have a brand new auditorium for convocation.
Yes. Thank you for that. Yeah. And at the top, and I know, Leslie, you can talk about it too, but the online learning at Railroads is so important. We like to say that we're online since day one, meaning that since 1995, our instructors, they all teach online. So we're really good at it. And that brings me to the next slide, talking about why Railroads. So yes, we see life as a qualification. We do really like things differently, and we remain open for people with an entrepreneurial spirit. Prof who know your name. So Leslie will talk about it as well. Like, it's a small institution, and really the instructors will be your peers, and you will really interact with everybody. You interact with your colleagues, your peers, and your instructors. It's a learning based on life, meaning that it's also a cohort model. So you will learn a lot from each other. You build connection for life. I think I've heard from many graduates that they have built relationships that they still have to this date after many, many years. And we were built differently. Again, just the fact that we're teaching online for 25 years plus, I think it's a really good point. And I don't know, Leslie, if you want to add to this. I think you have been at Railroad for a few years now.
Yes, more than a few. Yes, but the one thing I would like to add is how much the students form bonds with their fellow students. Even though these programs are fully online, they're very interactive. And so students interact with each other and with the professors. And I love seeing at the beginning of a class, everyone saying, "Oh, hello, we're back together again." And they stay together even after they graduate. And so they form a really great professional network. And excuse my dog, as soon as I start talking, she wants to come and talk too. So
wants to be in the webinar, yeah.
Thanks, Nancy.
And before I pass it back to you, Leslie, I'd like to mention that Railroads is a Changemaker Campus with Ashoka, and we're pretty pleased about it. It's a great association. And Changemaker Campus, what does that mean? It's recognized colleges and university with a proven track record of campus-wide excellence for social innovation and change making. So again, link into that entrepreneurial skills and open mind that we're looking for people really to think outside the box. And I'll pass it to you, Leslie, to tell us a little bit more about the master programs.
Okie doke. Thank you very much, Nancy. I see that Lisa is very busy putting links in the chat. So please, everybody, take a look at Lisa's links and you'll find out more about everything that we're talking about. The Masters of Arts and Master of Science in Environmental Practice is a fully online program. And the students love it because many of them have jobs, families, and other obligations that keep them in their communities. And so they love the opportunity that this being a fully online program gives them. Next slide, please. Actually, Nancy, can I forward the slides? Okay, I will do that. Thank you, so I don't keep bugging you. So these programs provide really flexible education for environmental professionals. And when I say flexible, I mean it. There's lots of electives, lots of different ways of shaping your program, whether within courses or the courses that you take. It's flexible in terms of time. You can take as much or as little time as you like to complete the program. And also it's flexible in terms of when you spend your time doing the work for the program. Because they're online courses, it's up to you. Many of my students work primarily on weekends or in the evening because they're working. And so this is a highly flexible program. And as I say, it gives you the master's degree credential, but it also makes you eligible for the EcoCanada Environmental Professional Designation. And so that's the EP or the EPT, which is Environmental Professional in Training. Thank you. Okay. Fully online, as I've said, it's 30 credits. it can be part-time, but also you can take up to 3 courses a semester. And for people who do that, if they're not currently working or their employer is giving them time off to take the program, and often employers are paying for this program, then you can complete it very quickly. In fact, we've had some people complete it in 2 years. And generally, it's completed in about 2.5 to 3 years. But most of the students would complete within 5 years. And as I said, it aligns with the EcoCanada occupational standards. EcoCanada is the sector organization for the environmental sector. And so it oversees the environmental professional certification. A sort of a side benefit of these programs is the online skills and competencies that it promotes. The students become very, very proficient in all manner of online and web-based applications. And of course, these are skills that are increasingly in demand in the workplace. This is the Italian garden at Royal Roads. What a beautiful garden this is. Okay, thanks, Nancy. So at the end of this program, I realize you're not even in it yet, although maybe some of you are, students choose either a research paper or a practicum to complete the program. And another benefit of this program is we have a partnership with the University of Denver, and students can take up to 3 courses at the University of Denver and transfer them into the program. And that's good for people who are interested in American environmental legislation issues, etc. And now you can also include the new graduate certificate in science and policy of climate change as part of the MEP program, which is 9 credits of electives towards the MEP. And at the end, you get both credentials. So you get the graduate certificate and the master's degree, which I think is a pretty good deal. Thank you. So speaking of which, this is the graduate certificate in science and policy of climate change. It's brand new. And I designed this program as the fastest and most efficient way for students to become environmental professionals. We need everybody we can get in this field. So this is only 3 courses, but it certainly gives you a very good grounding in most of the aspects of climate change that you need to be a climate professional. Thanks. So as I said, it's 9 credits, 3 courses. It again is offered in partnership with EcoCanada. It's entirely online. You can take this as a standalone certificate. So you enroll for each of the 3 courses that you take one after the other. Or you can take the courses as electives in the Master of Environmental Practice, but also in MEEC, the MA in Environmental Education and Communication, MEM, the MA-MSc in Environment and Management, the MA in Interdisciplinary Studies, and the MBA in Executive Management. Last year was the first year we offered this program, and I taught the final course, which is a placement in an industry, an organization, a government, a First Nation, to help them meet their climate goals. And I had, I think, 3 people from the MBA program in the course, and they were wonderful. And they learned a lot about environmental issues in general, but mostly about climate change. And they were a great contribution to the course and the program. Thanks, Nancy. So who's it for? Environmental professionals with undergraduate degrees who want to move into this fast-moving field of climate science and policy, but also for professionals in other fields who now want to move into climate careers. And then climate professionals, many people were just pushed into climate jobs without really having a knowledge base. And this is a one-of-a-kind program in Canada. So this is for those of you who want to move from a different career into a climate career, and also for environmental practitioners going for or retaining the professional certification. Also, we have a lot of mid-career professionals taking this, those who are either considering a climate change or just want to brush up on their, career change, or just, I can't say any word previous to change without calling it climate change, but people looking for a career change, and also international students who are also very keen on climate knowledge and experience and skills. Thank you. Okay, so the climate certificate can be completed in less than a year. The first course starts in January. The second course starts in March, I believe, or beginning of April, I can't remember. And then the third course starts in June. So the first course gives you your basic scientific understanding of the nature, causes, and impacts of climate change. Then the next course is the climate policy and governance course. Starts looking at climate solutions. And the final course is the course on climate solutions. So we really don't want to talk about all the horrors of climate change without talking about what we can do about it. And God knows we need to do something about it urgently. And so this final course is an experiential course in which students identify and work with an organization, a community, a First Nation, a government, an NGO, etc., to help them develop and implement their climate solutions or their approaches to climate issues. And that's the program. It starts with the Introduction to Academic Integrity, which is a required course for the entire university. And that takes the first 2 weeks of the program. Thanks, Nancy.
Thank you, Leslie. I'll move on to the partnership with EcoCanada, but if I may, so this is really 2 programs that are really hands-on. That's what you mean, huh?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about that. Could I have the next slide, please?
Yes.
Yeah, so the partnership with EcoCanada is one of the distinctive things about these programs. And as I said, EcoCanada is the sector organization, so it surveys the field, has a finger on the pulse of what jobs are available now and what are becoming available in the future, what kinds of knowledge and education are required for those jobs. So this is the EcoCanada mission statement. They champion the end-to-end career of an environmental professional. They identify and address labor market gaps. Thanks. Now, we work quite closely with the folks at EcoCanada. And as I said, many of our students go on to obtain the professional certification, or they get it while they are engaged in the programs. And they are keeping tabs on the future of environmental work. And I always think that these are a bit conservative because we all know that these are burgeoning fields. And there are all kinds of jobs in the environmental field that we didn't even know existed today and in the future, things that we don't know now. So while these numbers are large, I think they're actually a little on the conservative side. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. And my next slide.
Oh, that's it?
Will be about how to apply. I don't know if you have anything to add.
No, go ahead. But this partnership with EcoCanada really keeps us grounded in the reality of the environmental workforce and the employer demand for skilled workers. And but it also helps us survey the future of environmental work. And they're really good because they understand that environmental jobs and environmental employers required not just technical or scientific knowledge, but all of the sort of arts skills like writing and speaking and managing. And most of the people who come through our programs end up being either managers of science or environmental managers of one sort or another. And in fact, I would really rather not have separate science and art streams in the program, but just have a master's degree in environmental practice. But the province who governs such things thinks differently. So thank you.
Thank you. And feel free to jump in as I'm going through the process, how to apply, because we know that some people that will be on this call, on this webinar, they want to know, okay, what's next? I'm really interested. How can I apply? So here we have a slide just with the key dates. So you mentioned them already, Leslie. Thank you for that. So the master will have 2 intakes a year, the next one being in September, and then we have January, and the grad certificate will be in January 2023. And we might talk about it a little bit later, but as a person, a student right now, an employee, you can start your application now. So you don't have to wait until June or October to do so. Really, at Royal Road, we do a case-by-case analysis. So you can just start your application and submit the documents, as we will see now. So how to apply here at Royal Roads University? You have an online application to do on the website, and then you will get your ID, student ID, which is pretty exciting, and then you will start sharing the documents with us. So documents would be like an official transcript of others' institutions, a detailed resume, and the resume is very important for us just to know where you're coming from, what are your work experience, volunteer experience, other studies you might have done in the past. So really a detailed resume will help us understand who you are. Personal statement, what we call as well statement of intent, is really to almost convince us why should you get into the program. And the statement, personally, when I did it, was very interesting to do, because you're thinking of, you reflect on your past, and then you're like, where do I want to move forward? And then you express that on a piece of paper and you share it with us. And you can use that personal statement and share it with 2 people to provide us with letters of reference. So letter of reference, and Leslie, correct me if I'm wrong, but sometimes we really like to have one that is academic and one that is from an employer.
Yep.
So it's very helpful for us, again, just to get to know you. At Railroads, again, we do things differently. So we have standard admission, which will be based on a grade that you have previously. So we ask for a 4-year or something comparable undergrad degree with a B, average B grade, at least 2 years of relevant work or volunteer experience. And applicants who meet the degree requirement, but not the GPA, there's a fabulous course we can take with the professional continuous studies here at Railroad called Academic Writing and Critical Thinking, which will really help you to leverage what you have learned in the past, and maybe you have been away from the academic world for a few years, so you can really relearn how to write, how to do your research, how to do the references and stuff. If you can't qualify for the standard admission, then we have something called flexible admission. And this is not something you have to decide. You really start your application, and our team, the admission team, will be looking at your paper and be like, okay, this person would be standard or flexible. If you are under the flexible admission, we're looking for 6 years of relevant work experience or equivalent of a combo of education and experience. You will also be required to do the academic writing and critical thinking class. And if English is not your primary language, you can go online and look at our English language requirements. So that's a very interesting way to get into Royal Roads, even if you don't have maybe the requirement from an academic path. Anything to add on this, Leslie?
Yeah, Nancy, we had a question about English language skills. And I'm wondering if you or Lisa or someone else on the call, oh, there we go. RRU.
Lisa is responding, perfect.
Got it. Lisa's on top of it. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, I keep saying all Lisa's link, and that's wonderful. And again, the website would be a good place to just have a look at all those steps. or you just connect with us and we'll send you those links for sure. And financial aid, because we know that finance is a huge component of going back to school. I really encourage everybody on this call to just visit the website at Railroads, the /financial aid awards, because we can help you with financing, but that can be internally, but that can be as well externally. We can tell you some grants that exist out in the world. So we have some loans, awards, research scholarship, and other funding. So I really encourage you to have a look or call the people that work in finance, and they really do an amazing job to work the path with you, so finance doesn't become like an issue for you to pursue your career. And just before we end and we open it up for question, for more information, we have the amazing enrollment team, as I mentioned. So if you're Canadian citizen, permanent resident, or refugee, you can connect at learn.more@railroads.ca. If you're coming from abroad, international citizen or temporary resident, please use the learn.more.international@railroads. And something new, we have a WhatsApp as well. So right now in the call, if you just want to scan the QR code, you can chat with one of us already. And on that note, I know, Leslie, we like that picture, both of us. It's really appealing. So we can open up for question, and I think my colleague Andrea can help us with it.
Yes, we've got a couple of really good questions in the chat. I have also included my email address in the chat. This is the best way to reach me. In fact, probably the only way to reach me. I'm very, very busy, but every morning I go through my email. So if you need to talk to me, I'd be happy to have an email from you. So a couple of really good questions. The first is, yes. How learning in the frames of environmental practice program of RRU can help improving professional skills needed for more effective tackling climate change and other global disasters? That's an excellent question. And it feeds right into both the Masters in Environmental Practice and the Science and Policy of Climate Change. I was just talking to one of my faculty yesterday and suggesting that she start her course with just a review of the disasters that have happened in the last year. And even just here in BC with forest fires, fire destroying the town of Lytton, the pandemic, the biodiversity crisis is ever present, the heat dome, which nearly fried all of us and did some people. And because these disasters are more and more prevalent all over the world. And we know that the stories of flooding in Europe, I mean, the disasters are terrible. So we really need the skills to be able to deal with them because they are increasing. So our programs deal with that. We hope they're preparing students for to use the skills to address those disasters. We also have a disaster management program here at Royal Roads. So yes, is the answer to your question. Then we had another question about the placements. Types of organizations are eligible for the Climate Solutions course. I tell you, I had a wonderful diversity of organizations that students were placed in last year, including private industry, commerce. We had a .com company. One of the students looked at the costs of working at home versus working in an office. And we had people working for First Nations. We had somebody working for the Green Party of Canada, government departments at all levels, a lot at the local level, trying to do climate planning, climate adaptation planning. And we had some international organizations, one with the UN, one with UNEP. And so there's just a tremendous variety. And I can't imagine me not thinking any organization was appropriate. So, the students do a proposal to work with their organization. They negotiate with the organization to talk about how, what they're going to do and how they're going to do it and when and where they're going to do it. Many of them were virtual last year, and I expect this will continue this year as well. So yes, organizations outside Canada. No, it does not need to be a nonprofit or government organization. We had one person working on climate journalism with a university. So it just goes on and on and on, huge variety of placements. And they were all wonderful experiences. We had a conference to end the course, and everyone presented what they did. It was fascinating. Anyway, I'll stop going on and on, but have we got any more questions?
Yes, we do. We have one question from Jackson. Would you be able to comment on class time commitments for those who will be working full-time during schooling?
Yes, I will. Rural Roads is completely skilled and experienced with online learning. Many universities have had to jump on the bandwagon in the last 2 years, but we've been doing it for our entire existence. So we've got this down to a science, so to speak. Students can do their work whenever they can do it. All of the courses are not synchronous, although sometimes professors, and I'm included in that, will do synchronous sessions where people can go on to Zoom and talk about what they're doing with each other and with me. But those are always recorded because we know that not everybody we know that not everyone can join a synchronous session, so they can always access the recordings afterwards. In terms of commitment, time commitment, I always forget this rule of thumb. Christelle, you're on there. What is the rule of thumb? 3 hours for every hour of class? I can never remember it. You'd think so. I have a career in academia.
Can you repeat the question, and Leslie?
What the time commitment is.
Well, depends for the program. Usually it's at 33 hours per week, if I can remember, depending on the, let me get the information right and I'll just put it in the chat.
I don't think it's 33 hours.
No, I don't think so. Just get back, I will get back to you in the chat.
This guy's going to hang up and leave if we say that.
Yeah, no, just give me a second.
Okay. Now, Shmuel, show me, I don't know how to pronounce your name, which might be why I didn't pronounce it, but it is in the chat.
Leslie, we have another question, and it's about how you talk a little bit about the kind of jobs or roles that people are going to be doing after the program or the work opportunities. But there's a curiosity about who is the people that are taking the program? Who are the classmates? Like how the classroom will look like?
I don't think I see that question.
Oh, it was sent privately to me.
Oh, I see. So what are the jobs that people will do after?
No, it's more about who is taking the program, like who are you going to be your classmates?
Oh boy, such a variety. I mean, I don't think I can even give a stab at this because there is a requirement for experience before you come into these programs. Almost all the programs in the school have a 2-year experience, relevant experience to get in for admissions. So we don't get many people straight out of bachelor's degrees, but we do get a huge variety of students. They are mostly domestic, although I've had students from Africa and the Middle East and Asia join these courses, but they're in the minority. And then, so they come from everywhere. They come from the non-governmental sector, from government, from business, from industry, as I said, from First Nations, from Indigenous organizations, from educational institutions. I mean, it's just a huge variety of students, which is excellent because the students learn as much from each other as they do from the instructors. So I guess the only, yes, 33 hours per course. Thank you, Christelle.
And there was also a comment from Lisa Murray. So it will, how that will look like for your class or for your week, it will be around 10 to 18 hours per week. And the reason that those hours can vary is depending on the work of the week. Are you doing assignments, some readings, teamwork, individual work? But it would be good for you to have an average between 10 to 18 hours per week.
Yeah.
Just to add into your calendar.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good estimate.
We have another question from Eshmuel, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Is in the frames of this program, was planned any collaboration with different local communities to help to wide population in development environmental practice skills, price skills?
Sorry, I'm sorry, Andrea, I again didn't get that.
Is in the frames of this program was planned any collaboration with local communities through the program? Is there any work with local communities?
Many people in these programs do work with local communities, and that's certainly true of the climate certificate as well. I'm not sure if the question wasn't, were they designed with local communities? No, they were not. Although because of the partnership with EcoCanada, we certainly had a lot of input from professionals working in local communities and activists working in local communities. The question again, David, about you may be moving abroad before during, this will not affect your enrollment in any way. And that's the beauty of these programs. They're fully online. You can live anywhere on the planet, someday maybe even off the planet. So yeah, this won't affect you. It'll be wonderful. Where are you going? Ooh, Berlin is one of my favorite cities in the world. I'm sure you'll have a wonderful time. God, I love Berlin. And of course, Germany is now getting a lot of Ukrainian refugees. So that's going to add to the diversity and interest of German cities.
Perfect. So I believe that is our last question from our chat box. So I will take this time to thank you, Leslie, thank Nancy and Lisa, and Lisa to provide you some links in the chat box. And everyone that is interested in this program, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us, and we will be happy to provide any assistance.
Yeah, sorry, Andrea, I did want to add one thing about the living abroad and doing the program. The only hitch is, of course, the time differences. But we deal with that every time we offer these courses. We have far-flung students, and we accommodate those time differences. Thank you, and thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Nancy.